Hey guys, this is Pedro back with another interview for the channel. This time covering, as it always has been, the VCT offseason. But for this occasion, I'm not gonna be talking to a player. I'm not gonna be talking to a coach. I'm not going to be talking to a broadcast talent, but more specifically, an executive within the VCT Tier One scene. As for exactly who that person is, I know him, but I'm sure that for you guys, the audience, don't know him as much. But for the sake of introduction, he is none other than Buddha. Tsuneaki Takeda. Pardon me for butchering the name, but just for what he does, he works in DRX. He is the current director of business development within the organization, and on top of that, more specifically covering the Valorant scene, he is the general manager for the DRX Game Changers squad. And for anything else that I haven't really included, he can kind of fill me in on that. So, Buddha, really do appreciate you giving me an opportunity to just kind of have a quick chat with you. And so, first and foremost, as I always do with
Mhm.
basically every interview that I always do, how are you doing? How's life been like for you at this point in time?
Oh, okay. First of all, thank you for having me. This is a good opportunity for me and for DRX and Game Changers team. So thank you. How am I doing? I'm doing very well. A lot of things going on. Off season, it's very hectic, and season is starting soon. So we're always getting ready or doing something. DRX not stopping, non-stop. So we've been busy. Now, how are you?
Doing as well as I could be. Sure, I might be kind of suffering in terms of having a plenty of workload, but it's all good. It's all vibes. As it always has been for me. And for I'm gonna drop a little bit of some lore to the audience as to why I say that me and him are kind of familiar. I did an interview with you back in late 2022. This time I was doing my writing stuff, and the publication that I was working for was Refrax, and we kind of talked about your career and your early life within the esports space, because you've been doing this for a very long time, not even before your current time in DRX. And so just to
Yeah.
kind of do a little bit of an overview, exactly what
Mhm.
exactly did you do before you got into DRX and getting into your official role?
Okay, well, if I start from the beginning, it's going to get too long. But to make it short, like I've been in this industry since 2004, so it's been 20 years. Wow. I started my first professional Japanese gaming team back in 2004. So I'd say business-wise, that's the start of my esports career. Before that, I was a player. I was playing Counter-Strike 1.6 or Warcraft. Um, then I moved on and we were Pigeon Strikers. Then now we were DRX. So I think I'm going the right direction so far. Yeah,
Definitely
very
been
happy.
been definitely been doing that for a very long time, and exactly getting into the Japanese esports scene, because I believe besides myself, and other people that have been covering DRX and also like the Japanese scene on the West. How'd you kind of look at the early stages of that time, and how do you kind of compare that to nowadays? With DRX, with the Game Changers scene mostly based in Japan, and also having other avenues within esports from that org in that same country. So how do you kind of compare the state of the scene in that country from back then and now?
Mm, okay. It's a totally different environment, like I said in the last interview with you, like Japan audience is going to keep growing, growing, growing. More teams, higher levels, and sport shows it. Japanese teams are doing better at the moment, even though if it's off season or whatever. Um, so I think everything in a way in Japan, every like uh like the level is up, like a player's level, audience level, production, whatever. Everything. So like Japan is maybe still in learning process how to do things, and like they're doing just being successful. So I think Japan's on the right track. And as for game changers, it is getting bigger, I think, because now we have Spotlight and stuff like that. I see Riot trying to do more not just game changers, but like these kind of events is very special event for us. So we're very happy to be invited to this Spotlight Pacific. You know, very excited. It's starting in a couple days, so we just getting prepared. I'm very excited. Yeah.
As you definitely said, DRX will be fielding a mixture of the VCT and also Game Changers squad into the Spotlight Series in Pacific, basically the same as I did a few weeks ago in Spotlight Series Americas, talking to the Game Changers and VCT players in that regard. And so, yeah, definitely looking forward to that. Looking forward to DRX possibly doing well in that event. And so, on top of just kind of focusing on that,
Hmm.
obviously, you said right there in the beginning part of the conversation of this video about you joining DRX and that going far back into when it was Vision Strikers, and obviously everybody knows about that, how that transition happened from the Vision Strikers team getting signed by DRX in 2022, early 2022, after dominating basically all of the Korean Valorant scene in 2020 and also 2021. And so for you, when did you come into the picture, when it comes to joining, supporting Vision Strikers and also overseeing and also transitioning at the same time as the Valorant players into the DRX brand?
Um. Well, like I've been in Vision Strikers for 4 years, I believe. Yeah, going to fifth year. So like from transition of Vision Strikers to DRX was natural. It was a company thing. So but now that we have merged with another company also. Like DRX was so operated under two companies, and we merged. So we are one DRX right now. So I think things are different, but like bigger and much busier. You're busy also, but I think being busy is a good thing, uh, rather than being boring or whatever. But I think we're kind of too busy. Everyone's worn out, so we try to take much rest as possible.
And yeah, like it'd be fair to say that you're not getting as much rest as one would expect for it. But such as the name of the game in esports, you gotta be on top of things 24/7. You understand it, I understand it, and I'm sure the audience understands it as well. And so,
Yes.
your current role, in DRX is, as I said, business director of business development. And so, getting into that, exactly what does that mean for you, and what does that role entail for you on top of just having to, deal with managing the game changers scene, on an organizational aspect, what exactly do you do with that role in mind?
Okay, I actually never talked about this in an interview, so it is cool that I get to talk about this. So like I am a director of business, and, so like I take care of sponsorship and so on. For example, Nishin is our new sponsor since last year. I brought them. So I do. I used to work for a company called Dentsu, which is one of the biggest agency, number one in Japan, and I was in the sports department, so I know how like the sports business kind of works. So like that has a lot to do with like what I do within the business department of DRX. I know what to ask to for the sponsors and what to give to them and whatnot. So that is huge part of my work. But at the same time, when we started Game Changers and we decided to go to JP for the region, I was assigned to it. So it's like double work for me, kind of. So it was very hard, but and like Game Changers, like at first it was like I was assigned to it, so like and I was very excited, and like the more and more that I got involved, I I I'm like I got into it, So like I love my position right now because creating such a team, you don't get this opportunity much, and like I see a lot of difference between the male team and the female team. So like it's not something like making a team of FPS and putting in a competition. It's totally different from what I've been doing. So it's very unique experience, I should say. Um, Exciting also. Um, so but like so as a business director, of course, DRX is Korean-based company, but like I want more global to make it into a global team. That's part of my job. That's why I'm trying to implement Japanese company to sponsor, make divisions within Japan as well. For example, Game Changers. For example, we just made a eFootball division. We signed 2 players, Tess and Axe. They're one of the best players in the world, I should say. So I'm trying to do my best for DRX, DRX within Japan, just esports in general, because I believe that's my job.
I'm kind of curious on how you kind of view the similarities, or more not really similarities, but more so takeaways from your past experience and working in the sports department, sports sponsorship department, as you said, and using that for esports. How do you kind of how what were some of the biggest takeaways you took away from that first experience, and then in doing so, in making that transition to esports, what kind of adjustments had you make in order to just kind of grow the brand while in a very new environment, so to speak.
Mm, like the work within Dentsu was similar. It's like kind of similar. It's mm, like for example, I was doing marketing for Japan Football Association. So like you're basically working for them and thinking if you were Japan Football Association. So like I got the experience like operating World Cup before World Cup in 2002. I operated World Baseball Classics, so on, and even international events. So like those experiences really help, and like I know, like I mean, it's not easy to get sponsors, So like there's smarter way to persuade the sponsors. Smart but sponsorship doesn't last if we can't give them enough. You know what I mean? So like not just getting the money, but like what we do for the sponsor is more important on my side. Getting money is easy, but like making them satisfied and continue for a long term is the most important thing. So that's a part of my job that I do as well. But it's not like I do every sponsorship by myself. It's by the company, but like there are connections that I have within my own. So like I try to utilize that to the max.
So basically, like you do, like for as an example, you say you take in the money or you receive the money from the sponsorships, to start off with that sponsorship, and with that money, you
Mhm.
kind of like do things like initiatives or the kind of activities to kind of like raise money to like, or more so to raise a profit for to make up for the sponsorship, to let them know like, hey, what we're doing is very good for our partnership. You give us this and then we will present you that, and then also basically gives us benefits for both sides, if you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but it really depends on the company, who you're talking to. For example, Razer, and for example, we have Porsche. They have different needs. You know what I mean? So like it really depends, and our sponsorship has levels. The top level is called Radiant, so on. So like it all depends. It all depends. But we'll try to do. They have some asking. We'll try to do it, do our best, anyways. So so it's not daily, but we have to communicate with the company, because some companies understand very esports very well. Some companies doesn't, right? So it's like learning process for the sponsors at the same time sometimes. So you know, uh, that's part of my job as well.
Even if you have like some companies that you say that are not really familiar with the esports scene, you kind of make it work in a way that basically at the end of the day, everybody understands what it's all about, and what it is that you're trying to do in order to make these sponsorships and also partnerships last for a very long time. Because more often than not, we see sponsorships happen between esports org and like full-fledged companies like within outside of the scene, and then they don't last that long. Basically
Yeah.
that partnership will break up. But
Hmm.
I feel it's like much more different for DRX, in the sense that you have these many sponsorships. I believe you can kind of correct me on this, but maybe you got like Red Bull or something like that. And
Yes, yes.
you
Yes,
made it such in which that partnership continues on for much longer than everybody else that has that kind of partnership, right?
yes. Yeah, we try to. I mean, that's a healthy relationship, right? But it's not like it lasts forever. So things come in and out sometimes. But to run an organization, we have to keep certain sponsors at the same time. So um, that's part of my job. But at the same time, I'm operating um, eFootball and Game Changers. So, and like if there's, I'm always looking for new players, new divisions, if it's worth it. You know what I mean?
Kind of want to backtrack also, just sort of, you mentioned you worked in the JFA, and you also worked in the World Cups and also World Baseball Classics. What was that
Yes.
like? Just having to cover those type of events, and also like 2002 World Cup. I know as a
Mhm.
football fan, I am very familiar with the Japanese national football team. I kind of follow them. I
Mhm.
I will say this. Well, I
Mhm.
really hope that someday you guys can move on to the quarterfinals of the World Cup, because time and time again you guys have been denied, in heartbreaking
Yes,
fashion.
yes, yes,
So
yes. Yeah.
just to put that out there. But nevertheless,
Thank you.
looking over into 2002, obviously monumental moment hosting the World Cup. What was that experience
Mhm.
like?
It was super special. It was co-host with Korea and everything, so it was very interesting World Cup, I should say. And I was only 22 back then, I believe. I'm 45 right now. So like experiencing that kind of tournament like early in the stage, as an adult was huge impact for me, and like very good opportunity for me to learn like the real top sports business, what's going on, who's involved, how it's operated, because I had the manual, so like unintentionally I was studying what would I do in today back then, maybe, so like World Cup was very very special, and World Baseball Classic was made between Dentsu and Major League MLB. So like started from the concept. So like that was more fun for me. Actually, I shouldn't say more fun, but it was fun. Because it was first couple tournaments was in Japan, and that was when I was operating it. So so we got like, for example, McDonald as a sponsor. So like I had to think of what kind of campaigns we should do that suits them right now. Blah blah blah. So those are the kind of things. So like of course I can apply that to DRX, but like just bits by bits.
It's by bits, and as you said, definitely using that for what you do right now. As you said, with the sponsorships that you've uh, have acquired, in recent times, and then using that for the benefit of the organization that you're working with, and also on top of that, using that to help your respective teams kind of be better in the future. And so, getting back into DRX, into Game Changers, I can assume that like you I believe in building a roster. This is not really your first time, being put into that position. I assume that you had some past experience back in your CS days, right?
Yes, of course. So many.
Yeah, like
So
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
And so that said, was there any kind of like similarities in terms of just using in terms of like looking at how you built the team in your CS days and then how you built your team in GC, or more so was it different in the sense that you had to kind of think of a different a way to build a team because it is brand new time, brand new different eras, so to speak.
Yes, I should say it's very difficult. It wasn't like a usual team building. We took a lot of time trying out, um, especially because we're starting from scratch, and and we had not audition, but we tweeted that we were looking for a player, and 140 applied. So from a lot from Asia, of course, even from Europe or whatever, and a lot from Japan. I had to go through every single player's pods and like look at their rank, Twitter, whatever. Totally different experience, I think. Like starting from scratch,
By
and
yourself?
yes,
By yourself?
only me. Yeah, because okay, say there's 140 players, like I don't want to take a look at just 70 and pick and let someone else, because after all, like the chemistry and all that matters. So I did go through everybody, and then we narrowed it down, and then now to 20, to 15, 10. Then at the end there was 5. So it was with that, like a males team, they come with some sort of background, or they're some sort of a rankster or something, So it's easier to find a player, because for the male team it's usually at max three players changing, right? In my case, when I started GC, I had to start from scratch. So it was totally different experience. And as the level of game changers rises, needs from the team differs. We want to aim higher, because we never got to finish first yet. So obviously there must be a change needed if we feel like it. Um, actually we just announced our two new players, and like for example, last year we tried English com with a Filipino player, uh, and others did okay with English, but then at the end, result wise, it wasn't the best result. And then I talked with the players, and I mentioned, should we go back to the Japanese comms, because our healing is our leader, IGL. She's Korean, but she now speaks perfect Japanese. First year wasn't perfect. Like she was able to speak Japanese, communicate, whatever, but it wasn't 100%. Like it was 70, 60, But being in a team for 30 in a row, she's more like a Japanese right now. So those I see the growth of, of course, with the language barrier and everything. But I'm moving back comms back to Japanese. So it's, I think players are more comfortable playing and fun having playing from just listening to them shouting every day. Because I have to watch 6 hours of practice every day too.
Yeah, and like on top of just having to deal with comms and having to put the players in a position where they can be comfortable and just having to not worry about learning a different language and not having that kind of be an obstacle towards their performance. Well, since you kind of touched upon the recent changes to the team, I got to ask you about 2024 and the season that was for the team. I mean, do you feel like that was the biggest issue, or more so obstacle that affected the team in the result of them ultimately not being able to qualify for GC Pacific?
Um, hmm. It's hard to say because okay, say if we did the comps in Japanese last year, did we make Pacific? We never know that, But we did our best at the moment. What we thought it was going to be the best, but uh, I think that's why it's hard. It's a all kind of experiment. You know what I mean? So like until you win, it's not the right answer to me. To me, you know. So like this is oh yeah, we're going back to the Japanese comms, and they're actually doing better than last year already. So like I'm more confident with this new stuff. Sorry if I'm not answering the question correctly. Yeah.
It's all good. I do appreciate you answering as best as you can in that regard. And so, getting back into the changes to the DRX squad, kind of as you said, announced it the day before at the time of the recording, and so that's exactly who they are. They are Dia and Lucky.
Yes.
Both of them came from Scars and DFMGC respectively. And
Yes.
so I want to ask you since I have the opportunity to talk to you about the team, what exactly did you see in those two players that allowed you to put them into the squad for 2025? What were some of the highlights that they showed to you that prompted you to pick them up?
Yeah. So right when we finished our season last year, season was over, and that means the new season starts the next day. From picking the players and everything. So we had a discussion within the team, and there are teams that went or FA, LFT, whatever. Um, we announced yesterday, whatever, right? So like we did a long trial since August. So our season was done like back then. So like right after that, we started testing, um, and we tested a lot of players. And Lucky will be our sentinel. She's very good actually. Her aim was superb, you know. And I met her already. She came to our watch party to cheer for DRX. Um, and Scars disband, and Dia was their duelist, but like and she was a very good player. We faced them last year as well, and they beat us actually. So like it was natural to look into their roster also. We being by DFM also, and we had to look into it. So it just but just being good is default. You know what I mean? It's like the chemistry and like the calm chemistry mostly has to be like the first thing that other players care when they're testing. Like a skill and like the tactics and all that. Like coach can feel that within their brain, but like how they communicate or the basic really matters. So like, but like I can't decide on a player looking at just for a day. So like I at least do 3 to 4 days, and then I can only test one out of two at a time because testing 3 or 4, looking at them without my players starters is meaningless when it comes to the chemistry. So like it kind of takes time. So like even people wanted to test, they had to be in line sometimes, blah blah blah. But like after all, we did all the testing. You know, they were the two who survived. So I'm very happy that they joined us, and we hope we have a good year in 2025.
And honestly, I believe the goal for 2025 is to make GC champs, right? Because like it's been 2 years now in which DRX has been kind of fighting within VC, within GC Japan, fighting
Mm.
against the likes of like as you said, Scars DFM, and also Zeta Division, also Fennel, because
Then
those
yes,
two aforementioned teams, or at the those two mentioned teams at the very end of that list. They're the ones that represented Japan was able to qualify for GC champs over the years, and so
Yes.
two-part question.
Hmm.
What do you feel is the biggest expectations for your DRX squad for 2025? And also on top of that, where do you kind of see the gap between DRX as it is right now compared to the other big teams within Japan, as in Fennel and Zeta? Like, how much do you see that gap between these two junctures?
Okay, okay. Um, as for the past result, I take all the blame because I decide the roster, I decide the comms and whatnot. But like this year, we're very confident. As you mentioned, Fennel, Zeta, they're very good teams. Also, Ignite, I see them as a very good team also. Um, mm, but we started Game Changers 1 year later than all of them. So like they have more experience when it comes to team building. They had the players first and whatnot. So like we're catching up to them. We're challengers, and I hate losing. So we try to do our best, and like we were always trying because we have to change the coaches sometimes, players as well. So like every year is a new challenge, and I hate losing. I'm gonna say this probably 10 more times in this interview, but so like I'm trying to do my best, and because I have to guide the players to the winning spot, having the right coach, because they're DRX, and I hate DRX to see DRX lose in any ways, especially Game Changers for me. You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to do my best every day, man. Like there's not a guidance or like a guidebook or anything. There's no manual how to succeed in Game Changers, especially. So like it's a very adventure like um journey that I'm having right now, and I'm fun because there's happiness. A lot goes on, you know, very emotional, but I
I
like
do
it.
I do know that like compared to all the other regions within the VCT, Japan starts off, and I would say that Korea also like starts off very late, like as it like very like near the summer, like at the end of summer, or more so in the middle of the summer. Because you compare that to like North America and Europe, we're starting off like in January, stuff like that. And so one part of just how difficult it is to compete well in Japan is having to like start off the season very late and then starting
Hmm.
off the season in the very on the right foot, because if you don't, you're going to be basically left hanging, as every other team runs past you. And so
Yes.
what I want to ask you is, as someone that's been managing this team for the past 2 years, as you said, also being the one behind, how a team should kind of communicate within the matches and stuff like that.
Mhm.
What's been the most difficult part in just having to navigate the team in the GC scene in Japan, with what I said in mind?
Okay. As you said, the Japan region, it was late starting, but last year they changed and started from April, having two stages. So, but then EU they have it from earlier this year, right? Three stages, I believe. So, I hope longer the better for us. You know what I mean? Because it's hard to keep the players' motivation when the competition is like half year away, or something. But like I besides like the right official competition, I'm trying to do something that can implement the game changers into some sort of contents from DRX, because champ if there's only the season is if within this kind of period, rest of the time we should be doing something else, and because we're just practicing every day. So like I am thinking, I cannot say exactly what I'm thinking right now, but I am thinking, oh, to do something for this time that's like a blank season. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because like other than like trying to compete in challengers, trying to get in challengers for the Japanese tier 2 scene, you guys basically have nothing else because as you said, there's you got that blank period,
Yes.
from like start of the year up until like April or more so like up until even also after split one into summer. It's like a few
Mhm.
months from the end of split one into split two. So like how much difficult does that also play into just how a team should kind of continue its form, on a structural level, because as you said, not really else to do in the calendar except for like that one open qualifier.
Yeah. But I mean, once the format is announced, we know how many chances we have. All we can do is practice. Practice, practice, practice. Um, like I never think about what we do after we lose. I'll think about it when we lose, because we intend to win. Going back to the last question, actually, like, of course, we would like to be at champs, but like, I don't want to talk too much. We haven't made it to Pacific yet, so I would say, but go making it to the Pacific would be the first goal for the DRX this year, especially. After that, I get to say I want to go to championship. I, I think that's fair.
Definitely fair as you said. And so I kind of want to backtrack and go focus on the team because like you kind of mentioned it right there, just healing as the captain. Because I remember I did a written interview with her, shortly after the end of the 2022 season, and by that point, she had not yet been signed to DRX. She was like uh finished as one of the best, as a member of one of the best Korean GC teams in that country. Ultimately, it would be Fennel that would beat them in the East
Final,
Asia competition.
yeah,
Yeah,
two,
to,
three.
to
They went to the all the way. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And she was a part of that team. And so with that
Yes.
in mind, I reached out to her for a conversation and she kind of like told me her story about how, it came to be. I'll send a link to the interview in the description for the audience in case you guys are curious. But in layman's terms, after that, she joined DRX as one of the first members of the original squad. And then looking that up until now, she's like the only slash last original member of the DRX
Right.
Changers organization. And so I want to ask you
Yeah.
about that, just looking at the
Yeah.
progression of like her in particular. How'd you kind of look
Mhm.
at that and having to deal with, her initial struggles up until now?
Okay, I'll talk about healing. Yeah. Um. So she's now the IGL slash leader of the team. And as you said, your interview should be the days when she was with the SPG, I believe. Those days I knew Game Changers was going on, but DRX wasn't into Game Changers, so I was the audience. So I was watching. I know she was good, good race, whatever. But I was just watching as an audience, and hey, it's fun. But then when we decided to DRX decided to get into Game Changers, it was very natural for me to be in touch with healing. Also, she's actually the first person I met in person when it comes to making a team. Before the tryout for everyone, she happened to be in Japan, so I did meet her in person, um, and we went out for dinner. I because Dory was decided already, but then you know I needed an IGL and I need to build. I wanted to build the team around Dory and healing. So and as you said, she's the only one left out of the original five that we announced. Because as I said, her Japanese wasn't the perfect Japanese when she just came in. But then she's been speaking Japanese for like every years now, right? So her Japanese is so much better. So I think I decided that she can take this role as a leader, as she should be, because she's a very motivated person, very humble, you know. So it was kind of natural for me to pick, since she now has to be the leader, kind of, you know, because others are less experienced within DRX style, um, and just experience in general. I mean, healing has the most healing experience out of anyone on my team, because like we have good players like Ache. You'll see her on the spotlight starting. She's the best player in no arguments from anyone from the team. Ache is the best player on our team. So like you know, but she's very young. She just turned 17, I believe. So those things are to be watched out, and like I kind of rely on healing to lead, you know, those youngsters to, because she's IG also, you know, to the right way, I should
think
say.
I think you can also like talk about Yome because like we've gone through
Mm.
basically everyone from the squad. So I like to know exactly what does Yome bring into the table, as a player, and what is she like,
Okay, okay,
inside and outside of the server.
okay. I love this question. Yo man, she's one of the few that is in the Japanese game changer scene for long. But she was always being a duelist because she was always the best player in the team. But in this team, Ache is the duelist. But like Yome is now core of our team. She is the most flex player. Even if you want to do double duelist, she can probably be the second duelist. She is the most flex. Um, and I think when is this video going to be out? Soon?
Somewhere during like end of 2024, early 2025.
Okay, okay. She's the most noisy one in the team. She's kind of like a move maker. So like she's the most noisy one. But like she's kind of like a move maker as well. Uh, so I like adding Yome is like the biggest addition in our team. I think. I mean, I'm saying Ache is a good duelist, but without good support, you know, duelist doesn't work. So like Yome is our core.
So like, is it fair to say Yome is like the Zelsis of the team? Because like
Yes, yes,
she
yes,
like
yes.
divides.
Yes. She looks like Daiki though.
Oh, that who exactly?
Daiki, liquid, Daiki.
Oh yeah. The
Yeah,
Tio Brazil player. Yeah.
yeah. But yo
Okay.
man, I like her a lot. Yeah.
Oh,
She's
for
very
sure.
funny.
Well, what kind of like jokes would she like put out? For the team. What's her comedic level like? As someone from the West, out of curiosity.
Ah, hard to say. I don't. She's always talking. I'm like, shut up. uh, I don't know. Like she reads the air. Like if the team's quiet, she's try to put pull up a conversation or whatever. Because she, I don't know intentionally or not, but she does things like that. So like it's very helpful. Because the mood of the team is super important, I believe. Because like even though we don't live together, it's sort of like living together, like sharing like 5 to 6 hours a day, like 5 6 days a week, maybe more than your mother or father, you know.
Do
So
you said something right there, like not really together. You guys like compete online, like in different homes or something like that?
yes, for the official competitions, I bring all of them to Japan and we play from the facility. But for like non-official ones, yeah, practice and all that, we are all online. But before the real competition, we usually boot camp in Korea, the DRX gaming house, and then we go back to Japan and play because of the ping issue.
Okay, okay. Yeah, that also brings up part like why compete in Japan? Why not also compete in Korea? Because Korea has their own GC scene. You kind of answered it right there. The ping issues, do you feel is that the number one thing?
No, not really. I just think competitive level in Japan is much higher than Korea. So like I mean, if we can't win Japan, we cannot win Pacific, obviously, and we cannot win the championship. And me being Japanese and trying to make this organization into a more global um, status, I felt the need that Game Changers it would be cool to be part of the Japanese region. It's not something I decided, but after that was our path, I just took it seriously.
Well, there are people in mind that I would assume like would be thinking, okay, I mean, sure, I understand, why DRX would go compete in Japan, but in Korea, if you go over there, then you might have a bigger chance to like qualify from that region over to GC Pacific, while also then in turn qualifying for GC champs, if you know what I'm saying. And so,
Mhm.
I guess you guys kind of considered that, but still, nevertheless, went over to Japan.
I mean, we don't mind going the harder way. I mean, it does make sense. If you do participate, Game Changers Korea, we have a higher percentage going, but I don't think just the scene in Japan is bigger, and I feel that's better for the player, and we just started as a JP region, so I don't see much reason going back to Korea because we're never there.
Okay. And
We
now,
have business to take care of, the history's been made already, so we'll stay in Japan forever. I tell you that much.
for sure, definitely trying to take down Zeta and Felon because definitely they've already qualified for GC champs. So obviously the aim is to kind of surpass them and hopefully make it to the international event. And so yeah, um,
Yes.
now kind of want to ask you about your thoughts on the GC scene in Japan because you know I've had a chance to talk to you on a few occasions over the years, since our first interview back then up until this point. So I got a little bit of an idea as to what the GC scene is like in Japan, but I want to know from your point of view, having been competing in the region for a quite long time, I would say. How do you kind of look at the current state of the GC scene in Japan, and how do you kind of look at the 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 highs and lows, pros and cons? How do you kind of look at that?
Mhm. Okay, I see a lot of pros and cons. I mean, but right, I think they're trying to do their best, trying not to collide every event. So every event is like a belt. That's why Game Changers scene is short. But to me, the audience is not 100% the same to me. So I think it could work parallel. You know what I mean? But um, if we have males playing and the girls playing on the same day, that's gonna be awkward for us in a way. So I'm kind of contradicting, but you know, because it's not like we just sign player just for the season period. You know what I mean? We have a yearly contract, multiple year contract, salary every month. So longer the competition would be happier for us, of course. But then of course there's a need for um to take the rest to make a changes. Look at our international teams; they're busy, all over, traveling all over the world, off-season event, and then kickoff starts soon. If that happens to Game Changers, I go crazy.
Well, but at the
But
very least, you would be busy, right? Because like as opposed to what it is right now, right?
yes, yes, and just scene in general, Pacific was held offline this year. That was a huge upgrade from last year, right? I don't think they'll go back to not doing offline somewhere next year. So I'm hoping it'll be Korea or Japan or somewhere. You know what I mean? So I look very forward to that if that happens. So you know, but at the end we just gotta do our best. We just gotta practice every day. There's practice today. You know, tomorrow, on 19th spotlight starts. You know, so like it's very hard, but like we just gotta do our best. I think.
Yeah,
And try to not to make the players burn out.
yeah, because that definitely does affect a lot of people. Those that have been competing for a very long time, and how do you kind of look at the popularity of the game in general in Japan, but more specifically like in the GC, or more so female fans and all that stuff? Because like we got players in tier one scene for Japan like Mei and also last. Sure, he's retiring this year, but nevertheless he was able to compete for a very long time, and so that garnered a lot of audience on top of just
Hmm.
what he's done, in recent years. And
Hmm.
so, you got them generating fans, but how does that kind of fit into, generating fans from GC? How do you kind of look at the popularity in that sense?
Okay. This is only my guess, but like of course, like May, he's a superstar now. You know, I see him gaining much more popularity and whatever right now. But funny thing, not funny, but like a lot of audience of the Japanese Valorant scene is girls. You know, and like to them watching this game changers girls fighting out for a title or for number one in Japan is very cool to them. So like it shows on impression on Twitter. Like they do attract some people's attention, I believe. So like potential of game changers is huge, especially starting with this like a mixed event. I think it'll bring more attention to our player, and once they know our players, it'll be more fun to watch. So like this is a good opportunity to like break those barriers. If for those who are not watching Game Changers, they might start watching. You know, like look at Floor. I mean, she did the other way. She went to the tier one, and she very well deserves it. And there might be others who are still have potentials like that in APAC or whatever. I do see a couple teams like players like that.
Yeah, interesting you brought up barriers. What do you feel those barriers are? That kind of stand in front of just continued growth for the game and also GC.
Well, like we practice with many teams, male teams, female teams. So like where we're at. So like um we wish to compete with the boys on the same level, but like I'm glad to have game changers, which is strictly to the girls mixed gender stuff. So it is very challenging, but it's cool. I think it's fun, when we lose. Um, but as DRX, I feel that we should not be losing, and I want to win every time. So I'm trying to do my best every day.
We've seen Zeta qualify for GC champs and do pretty decent over there, finishing top six in Berlin, and
Hmm.
it kind of brings into focus as to how much Pacific or more so APAC improvement. Also on top of that, how much Japan improved because you've taken that compared to how it was in 2022 when Feno Hotel Laba was there. They basically finished like top eight or more so
Hmm.
top 12 or something like that. Might be wrong on
Hmm.
that. Nevertheless,
Yeah.
um, definite
No.
improvement. And so for you, like how much does that help in just seeing the improvement of the scene while also making it much more harder, I would say, for your team to kind of beat teams like Zeta to then kind of qualify for international event. How do you kind of look at the progression of the Japanese scene? in GC wise, and what do you think this makes it such better?
Okay. I think first of all, environment changed. You know, back then there was no gaming house for the girls to use, whatever, and less competition always. So it was hard to gain experience. But like Zeta and Fennel, they managed to go overseas and gain their experience on the big stage. So like we need to do more practice to surpass them. So like I try not to over push my players, but like we need to catch up to be better. So like I think uh as you said, the level of the Japanese scenes is growing, so it's more exciting for us in a way. You know, we don't want easy match every time. You know what I mean? That's boring. Um, so that's why not just players but like coaches and organizations, they come into play, and those makes little difference if you're going to be the winner or not after all. So, and I'm in the position to be picking coaches and the players, so like every result, really my fault, I should say. But it's exciting because Zeta's getting stronger while we're getting stronger. So it's always, I see them as a rival, and we have to make a revenge this year, next year.
Looking at Japan as a region, how do you feel they compare? How do you feel your region compares to like other regions in the world, as in like APAC, or more so specifically like Southeast Asia, North America, EMEA, South America, or slash Brazil, Latin America? How you kind of look at the level of like where Japan is compared to the other regions in the world?
Hmm. Okay. Well, I'm not very deep. I don't know much about NA or EU, but I think Japan has a lot of game changers team. So like talents are kind of spread out in my eyes. So if we were to make a special super team from Japan, I think the result could be better. But again, chemistry matters. So like it's not like putting best five in one box will make a better result. But like I think skill wise, just in general, like those EU players, or like even like Sayuri from MIBR, I thought she was a great controller. Because I didn't know her until this championship. But like so there's a lot of players that I don't even know that amazes me still. So it's new finding every day. Um, but then it's harder to be other way around to see us, especially DRX GC players. That's why this spotlight event is very important for us, because this is a time they see our players, what we're capable of, how you know good they are. So like uh even our players are very excited. So they're like practicing very, very hard right now. They're very motivated. So like so another good point of having this spotlight is keeping up our game changers motivation in this off season to be like at max. I don't want them to burn out or anything, but like they don't want to lose at the end. So like there's good effects already just by participating. you know
Yeah,
we don't know
because
the
like
outcome yet.
for Spotlight, it's going to be Flashback, Hyunmin, Ethan, and then also Yomi healing and H or Ake. And
Ache,
sorry about the name,
Ache.
Ache.
Yep. It's
Thank you
okay.
so much
It's
for
okay.
that. How much do you hope for, or what do you hope for, your GC players to take away from having to play with, the likes of the squad, or from the men's squad in VCT specifically? What do you hope for them to kind of learn and kind of experience in having to play with them while also having to face the other teams that will be taking part in that event?
Okay. Well, Zipto, Zeta, Paper X, any team, any match will be exciting, 100%. So from the what I would say to the girls is just gain much experience as possible by playing with the tier 1 players. Think of them as if they're playing in the top level tournaments or something, because those feelings, nerves, is something they were rare to experience unless they're at the championship or something. So I'm sure there's pressure on them, because more people were being watching them, and but I'm sure they'll try their best and show their performance. I believe in them.
Getting back, trying to boil it all up together for the future, and now kind of looking over into what you guys are going to do to build on, the adjustments that you've made for the GC squad, and looking to surpass the mark that you've set for the past few years. What do you feel is the biggest biggest things to focus on for yourself, Buddha, and also for like the rest of the GC squad heading into 2025?
Hmm. Interesting question. Most important. Hmm. I mean, our roster set, as we mentioned, Ache, Yome, Healing. Now we are adding Lucky, Sentinel, and Daya. So, I mean, there's only one thing that we can do is practice as much as possible with the best efficiency. Sorry if I'm not answering the question correctly. Um, but like we're challengers at the end. We haven't been to Pacific yet, so like our goal is to just make Pacific and go as far as possible from there. So girls are practicing as hard as possible already, though the competition is a bit away. But that's like the only thing we can do. But like I'll try to make some events during the off season to not just having the spotlight for them during the season, but in the off season as well.
Looking into the same time frame as in, focusing on team, but more so for yourself, as someone that's been putting it all together for the squad over the years, and having to see them go through plenty of versions of the squad up until this current point. wh- what do you feel has been the biggest takeaway you've had, from your experience covering GC, from the time, you were given the opportunity to cover, or more so to be the GM of the squad, up until now, as you hope to see this team finally uh win in Japan, and also win in Pacific, and also do well in GC champs.
Well, to me, they're like a family. I'm in touch with them every day. I hear their voice every day for a long time. So I'm very attached to the team. So of course we want to win as much as possible, get the title, for DRX also. So like mm, I just want to win with them, with this member, because I think we have a very good member this year, and as an organization, what we can do is support them as much as possible. So we'll do our best. Yeah. Sorry, well, I missed the question, kind of.
Yeah, like as in takeaways for you, in biggest takeaways for you in covering the GC scene from the time you started up until right now. Like biggest lessons, biggest like takeaways, biggest like impressions. That's what I'm trying to say.
Mm. Everything is a new day. Like it's it's fun because a lot of unexpected things happen. Because if it was a male team, I could forecast what's coming up, what blah blah blah, what kind of drama. I've been there, done that. But girls' drama is kind of different sometimes. So like there's all new solutions for different problems, new solutions. So like it's not like we have a lot of problems or anything, but like male and female would most definitely different, just in character. So like it's interesting for me. Very new experience that I'm having right now. So that's why I like it, because it's unknown. I'm still trying to figure out how to fix and what the right way is to for me to guide them to make this perfect team that I'm trying to vision. I just don't have the answers yet until I make the result, because whatever I say makes no sense unless we win, right?
And given your career that you've had, before joining Vision Strikers slash DRX, and then you're using that up until this current moment in time as you are, in your current roles, how do you kind of compare the the Buddha of back then, as in CS, World Cup, JFA days, to the Buddha of right now? As you sit there and you talk to me about your experience so far in building this GC squad thus far.
Okay. Like nothing has changed for me. Like I've been challenging, doing what I like to do all the time. I've been doing esports since 2004. So like Game Changer is a new thing, so it's a challenging, uh, unique thing that I'm working on right now. But at the same time, I'm doing other business aspects, other divisions as well. More divisions to come, maybe. So I never know. I don't even know what I'll be doing next year. Because I didn't know I'll be doing this 4 years ago, right? So, but just in general, esports is growing, and they're making their you know audience and contents wider, especially having game changers and all that. So like it's just we just gotta keep on catching up with the development that Riot is making, because uh, Riot does the game changers, but unless team does the organizing the teams well, it will never last. You know what I mean? Unless we can satisfy the audience and everything. So we try our best. That's all I gotta say. I mean, trying our best is the only solution, I think. And I just gotta guide them in the right way.
Yeah,
It's very
definitely.
hard to answer the question. Yeah. No.
Very, very like tough way to answer, because like you're just one man and you can only say so much about what you would like for things to be. But of course, it's the result of various people working together and just having to build that future. So yeah, one man. And I do understand how difficult it is for you to answer that kind of question, but still I had to ask, as things that I usually do. So
Yeah, yeah.
um that said, I think I'm kind of wrapped up all of my questions, or more so asked all of the questions that I wanted to ask you for this conversation. So, Buddha, can't thank you enough for giving me a chance to make this happen, make this interview happen, and make
Oh.
all of this happen in general. So, can't thank you enough. Do you have any final words to share to anyone in the world?
Yeah, no problem. I mean, thank you for having me. Actually, we did all these questions without script, right? So like it really, really made me think. It was a good experience. Because some things I had to like rethink, to reorganize myself by talking to you to the public. And I hope Game Changer scene. If you guys haven't seen it, please watch it. It's much more than fun. You just don't know until you see it. If you're a fan of DRX, be a fan of DRX Game Changers also, please. If you're a fan of ZETA, be a fan of ZETA Game Changers also. We need as much support as possible, because those girls, they're fighting for their life. I mean, that's how they make their living. This exactly same as the boys. Bigger stage or not. So like um you know they don't get as much spotlight as the boys do, but equally put same amount of energy into both of the teams, to make a great team. That's my job as a DRX.
At the end of the day, you will be hopefully you'll be able to accomplish the things that you need to accomplish, both on the business and also on the competitive side. Buddha, it's been Buddha. I've been Pedro, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody.
Okay, thank you. Bye bye, guys.